Hello YouTube, what's going on? So anyway, I just walked out of Best Buy and I was looking for a camera. I don't know, I went over a few different cameras with a couple of guys, and this guy liked this one and this guy liked that one, and a couple of the guys I talked to really knew their shit. I'm not gonna lie, they really knew their shit. And so anyway, I walked over because they got a little Marantz Cinema 70. And that's 75 watts per side, and you know, I like listening to that, and they've got it hooked up to some Bowers and Wilkins, and it sounds pretty good. So anyway, there was an older couple, and they were like asking some questions, and there was a young lady, and well, I'm not gonna lie, the young lady wasn't answering the questions as, you know, like she had the right question. She was like, well, how many speakers do you have? You know, you have this, what do you have, kind of thing. And he says, well, I'd really like to have 4 speakers. And I said, I just kind of piped up and I said, well, you want a center channel in there? And he goes, what's a center channel? And I said, well, center channels they're kind of different. I said, you can make a phantom center out of your 2 front speakers, but sometimes center channels, if you're hard of hearing, can really help you out. And the lady piped up, and maybe she was hard of hearing, I'm not 100% sure, but she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, center channels are more for voices. They're more for, voices, like when you're watching television and stuff like that. There's a ton of settings on any of these AVRs. So anyway, we flipped the AVRs around, and I said, the most important thing about an AVR is not necessarily the front, but it's the back. Like, what does it offer? You know what I mean? What does it offer? So I showed him everything that the RZ, no, it's not an RZ, it's a TX 6100 Onkyo had to offer, because I think that was the top of the line one that I saw from Onkyo. And the best one they had from Denon was a 570 BT. And I just asked the lady, I was like, how many watts per channel are these? And she couldn't figure it out. And I was like, it'd be nice if you knew that, because that would be nice, because I could have just grokked it, but I didn't want to look like an asshole, if you know what I mean. So anyway, I think his heart was set on the Denon, and I said, when you hook it up, I said, it's going to be a little bit different than your old receiver. You're going to have to actually like go through the menu on your TV, and you're going to have to answer some questions, and you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you can skip all that shit, but it's way better if you don't. And then I asked him what kind of TV he had, and he told me it was older, and they're probably retired. And I just told him, I said, this is my phone number. If you got any trouble hooking it up, just give me a call, and I'll come over and help you hook it up. Shouldn't be an issue. I said, make sure you've got enough HDMI cables, because if you're running anything special, like your cable satellite should come with an HDMI cable. If your TV's old, 2.1 will work. 2.0 cable will probably work with this receiver, because you're not dealing with something that's really high end. You know what I mean? I don't even know if you're middle of the road, but you're above shit, let's just put it that way. So he went with the Denon, and I think maybe he made the right choice, because once I got talking to him a little bit more, he has 2 channels. He's going to run 2 channels, just 2 front speakers. He's got some nuance. Who knows what the model number is? He didn't know. I didn't ask. And I think the Denon will be musical for him. And I told him, I said, I just tilt your speakers in a little bit, especially if you guys got a love seat and you watch it together. And I said, you might hear it a bit better. And I just gave him some advice. But here's the question, okay? And I want you guys to sound off in the comments, because the truth is like, yeah, I want some subscribers, but I really want some comments. Like, what would you pick? What would you pick? Would you have picked the Onkyo TX 6100, or would you have picked the Denon 570 BT? What would you have picked? Anyway, this is VSP, and I'm out. And sound off in the comments if you got this far. Thanks. Have a great day.